This review of Shinobi 2002 on the PS2 may contain a shitload of spoilers and a shitload of coarse language. If neither of those bother you, then have fun watching this review. When you think of Sega, besides a dying company, what do you think of? Daytona USA, Virtua Racing, Fighting Vipers, Virtua Fighter, Virtua Cop, House of the Dead, Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Space Channel 5, Rhythm Thief, and none better than the Shinobi series. I think I'm also forgetting one. I don't even know. Shinobi 2002, or PS2 as it likes to be called, came out and also was on the... It featured an entirely revamped game. In fact, it was considered a reboot because it starred an entirely new protagonist and an entirely new gameplay style. Oh, but it had its critics. And critics were probably saying that the game was really, really hard. And those guys, oh, they're babies. But that's besides the point. There are a few flaws in this game, but really, to me, I consider it one of my personal favorites after playing through this. And you're gonna see why. Right now. Here it comes, a review. It's coming. Immediately, like I do with every other game, I check out the options. And holy crap. This game is on a console. This is for the... You know. So, you can customize your controls on a console game. Whoa. That's extremely impressive. You don't really see that anymore. So, that's something to take into consideration. Among that, they have other options for controls, and hey, that's great. The gameplay style is as follows. You play as Hatsuma Oboro. He is the leader of the Oboro clan. And he has a sword called Akujiki. What happens is Akujiki is awakened, and Akujiki has to consume the yin of men in order for it to stay alive and not eat its owner. Which is... Oh, that's kind of weird. But this is the huge part of the gameplay. A lot of battles can pretty much be avoided. However, if you avoid them, you're also slowly on the path to killing yourself. So, you have to battle to keep yourself alive. Pretty hectic, I know. When it comes to the combat, it's nothing like Devil May Cry. In fact, it's probably even further from Devil May Cry, and it's more similar to a regular action platformer. You're pretty much stuck with two weapons. You have Akujiki, which you use as normal sword slices. Easy enough. You can pretty much spam that button and just hope you win. But there's also an added feature called they don't really have a name for this. But basically, every enemy you kill, Akujiki gets stronger and can do twice as much damage. You can keep going at this. In fact, enemies just become easier to kill as you keep killing them. So how do they take advantage of that? Why, Sega and Overworks decided to add a feature called a Tate. Basically, if you kill 4 or more enemies, what happens is Hatsuma will do a clever pose or a sword strike or something, and he'll kill everything on screen, just like that. But when he does that, Akujiki's hunger meter is fully restored, so there's nothing that can get in your way. The Tates actually change depending on the amount of enemies you kill. If you kill 4 enemies, you do a regular Tate. You just see Hatsuma pose. If you get 5 or 6, you see the camera go to 3 different angles and then see Hatsuma pose. But when you get to 7 or 8, then I yell to the cabby, yo home, smell you later. The camera pans, showing a blood strike, and Hatsuma poses, but when he poses, a special effect plays. This is different for every stage, too. So you might be saying to yourself, well, gee, does that get annoying after a while? And my answer to that would be no. It really doesn't matter how many times you do it, it's always pretty fucking cool. You also have your kunai knife, which you can throw at people to stun them, or kill them if they're a weaker enemy. Hatsuma also has 3 different types of magic. One is a giant fire spell nuke, another allows you to slash people from a distance, and the third one allows you to dash quickly. You can also jump and then double jump. When it comes to jumping, there is a difference though. When you're jumping at the apex of your height, you eventually lose your momentum and you just kind of slowly go down in a line. That makes it really good for precision platforming, and it might be very hard for people to get used to. Yet Hatsuma's jump is kind of floaty, and the stages are well designed too, so it's not really that much of an issue. Another great feature is the wall running. What's so cool about the wall running? Well, you don't have to. You can pretty much just stay on the wall. It's great, and you can keep hopping off the wall, you can climb up it. It's pretty damn flexible for just being a wall. As you get further and further into the game, there's going to be a lot less floors, and there's going to be a lot more wall climbing. And man, it's actually a pretty dramatic shift in the platforming that the game was so well known for, and it makes it seem a little bit more, like, unique. There's not really that many games where the platforming is more about your mastery of both walls and floors. And finally, the coolest part of the game, the stealth dash. The stealth dash allows Hatsuma to dash in any direction. Dash here, dash there, dash, bash, dash, anywhere. When you're locked onto opponents, you can dash around them, circle strafing. In fact, when you're close enough to them, you can circle strafe all the way to their back and backstab them. And this is a major thing. Clever use of the stealth dash and mastery of it is pretty much essential to getting through the game. You can even keep yourself airborne and lock onto enemies, kind of like Sonic does with a homing attack. The stealth dash adds a whole different level of flow to this game and makes it so that combat's extremely fast and hectic. Actually, when it comes down to this game, a lot of the mechanics are pretty well made and complement each other perfectly. If just one of these movesets that Hatsuma can do was removed from the game, it would probably ruin it and it would be considered a mediocre title. But guess what? They didn't. You can also constantly reset the camera using the L1 button by default. You also can't turn the camera diagonally, but for the most part, you don't really need to turn the camera that much. Every time you use the L1 button, it resets it immediately. Throughout the game, there are also a bunch of Oboro tokens that you can collect. When you collect a certain amount, you unlock special things. There's movie viewing mode along with the gallery, but you can also unlock 2 different characters, and you can unlock the VR mission mode. I should probably get this out of the way right now. This game is really hard. It's fair and balanced, and you have a variety of moves and ways to control yourself, but really, it's still kind of a hard game. I was able to master it quickly, but it probably won't be the same for everybody, and it might actually turn some people away. One of the 2 flaws that I consider to be detrimental to the game is that there are no level checkpoints. If you die in a stage, you go back to the beginning. Some of these stages can last around 5 minutes, so if you die near the end, you can either suck it up and deal with it, or you can cry. Never. Don't cry. This isn't really a problem in the beginning, but when you get further into the game, you eventually notice this problem, and it gets a little bit on your nerves. Now, the boss fights in this game, ho mama! Well, let's just say this. All the bosses require the same strategy to beat. Well, to beat quickly, at least. You have to kill a bunch of other enemies around the surrounding areas, build up your tape, and hit the enemy, doing more damage. Simple enough, right? Simple. That's where the bosses come in. The bosses are actually extremely difficult. They fit the term boss pretty darn well. And hey, that doesn't even matter, because when you build up your tape, you can pretty much kill them in one hit. Actually, I shouldn't even say pretty much. You can. You can. You can also fight them without building up your tape, but that's really dumb. Like really, if they gave you that option, why don't you take it? Well, I mean, you can if you want to. I'd only recommend not building up a tape if you're a psychopath or a masochist, or both. When it comes down to the bosses, they're all pretty fun fights. Except for one. Except for one really bad boss. Really bad. Oh, you're gonna hear about that when we get to Story and Stages. Story and Stages! Sega games? Stories? Oh, you're funny, man. Stolken, you can't talk about these. You don't even... Sega doesn't even, like, do stories good. It's like, why even bother? Well, you're in for a surprise here, actually. In fact, I was kind of surprised, too. Shinobi 2002 tells a pretty damn good story. You're Hatsuma. You're the leader of the Oboro clan. Brother. How'd you do that? Well, in the past, what happened was you had to go and fight to become it, and you had to kill your brother. You won the battle, and, well, you're the better of the two, so you had to do it. You had to do it. However, 4 years later, an ancient seal was broken on an ancient enemy that was ancient, and he wanted to do something that was ancient, and it was an ancient evil, anciently. What happened was a giant golden palace has erected in the middle of Tokyo, causing an earthquake and killing millions. But you know, when something like that happens, you send a ninja. I mean, spirit shit? No, ninjas. You send ninjas. No militaries, that's stupid. So, as Hadi-sama dives down, he notices someone watching him. He then ignores it. But before Hatsuma gets a break here, he has to fight some ninjas that he's encountered that have seals on their faces. They're the Oboro.
The corpses of the
This
Oboro
evil
were
prick
used
killed
against
all of the Oboro clan
These
and are using the
monsters.
corpses against Hatsuma.
I
Holy
shall have
shit.
my revenge.
That's something to talk about. Stage 1 takes place in the city. It's pretty nice, it's pretty fair. You start on the ground, you get to skyscrapers. Some good platforming here and there, and some good combat. It's a fantastic opening stage, and, well, it is the easiest. It's great! As you progress, eventually you run into Ageha, a childhood friend of Hatsuma, who, I guess isn't an Oboro, but whatever.
Ageha.
Ageha, oh, can you show me some of that?
Fushizama told me what
Ooh,
happened. I
prime.
guess the Oboro village.
Eventually, you run into that mysterious figure that was spying on you. Okay, let me just talk about this. Look at this. Look at this. See how it says skill up? That's cool. I love that. Anyway, you run into him, and all of a sudden, as Hatsuma strikes him, he grabs it, and suddenly, Akujiki has awakened. Akujiki now needs to feed on the yin of men, or else it'll kill Hatsuma. I wonder why Ageha shared that information now. You hear from that mysterious ninja that your master, Master Kabushi, is dying somewhere near the shrine, so you take haste after him.
I must save Master Kabushi.
Oops!
You're hurt.
No shit, huh? Stage 2 is also a pretty cool one too. Now you're still in the city, but now you're in like a Central Park kind of thing. You have a lot of sidewalks and stuff, and you have a bunch of fox enemies that come out of nowhere, and bam, you gotta get them. Pretty interesting stage. I'd like to rectify something before I keep going. A lot of the stages here reuse assets. So there are going to be certain corners or certain areas that are pretty much used throughout the rest of the stage. I don't mind it. I don't think it's lazy, because what they do in each area is that it's different. There's always something different in these areas, combat or platforming-wise. They can get fairly creative with some of these interesting corners, but you notice it the most in this stage, and that's probably why I would consider it a problem here. After killing some, oh god, wow! After killing some former clansmen who actually beg Hatsuma to kill them, you run into your master, and okay, yes, a helicopter. Oh my god. Oh, that's so stupid, I love it. So Hatsuma goes off to play the fucking helicopter. Master Kabushi then tells you that the guardian of the shrine has been kidnapped. Conveniently, he had a pencil and paper ready, so he wrote down where she went. Here you go, Hatsuma. Go find the girl. Oh my god, that. Nice. Hatsuma then runs off to go save the seal guardian, while Ageha stays behind to watch Master Kabushi. Boy, I'm really glad I'm good at memorizing these names that aren't even in my native language. Now, stage 3, I'm not a big fan of. 1, because the levels are long. 2, because...
Revenge.
Oh, man. So, stage 1 and 2 has their own annoyances, but stage 3, oh, man. Stage A, you have to fight these armored dogs, but you can't attack them from the front. For some reason, they're invincible. I don't know why. They are. So you have to hit them from the back, and they're really annoying enemies. But then you get to stage B, what I'd like to call the simulator. So, you know, you just get stuck on a spider web, and you just get stuck. Stuck! That is something I'm going to remember until the day I die, and then in the afterlife I'm going to remember it. When you arrive, she's taken away. Oh, shit, gotta go chase her again. But instead, you're going through the burning village of the This guy is an asshole! Holy crap! Wow! However, stage 4, the burning Oboro village, my personal favorite. I love these stages. You see, the first stage is pretty much your burning Oboro village. Alright, fair enough. Even though they're reusing assets here, they still make it pretty creative here, and there's a lot of cool dash attack platforming you gotta do. I like it. And then you get to the lava stage, which has more original assets. Man, oh man, do I love this stage. It's so much fun. The lava doesn't kill you instantly. Instead, it hurts you just a little bit. And the boss at the end is a fair and fun fight. I love stage 4. It's probably my favorite stage of the entire bunch. You fight this person and eventually you escape. You run into that mysterious ninja again, who then teleports away and floods the entire city. Another former member grabs her, and then as Hatsuma fucking scales a skyscraper, he chases after him. Stage 5, oh man. I could tell looking at this stage, I'm not gonna like this stage, but I'm gonna make myself love it. There's a lot of wall-grabbing platforming, and you're basically going from point A to point B. I think it's pretty cool, because you're running on the walls, you're trying to escape the water, you have to watch the water levels go up and down, and if you land in it, you die. Creative, and I think it's great. A sudden change here happens, though. Stages 5B, 6B, and 7B are just boss fights, so there really isn't a part 2. Eventually, Hatsuma makes it up there and fights him to try and save the Seal Girl. The Seal Girl begs Hatsuma to kill her so she can reawaken Akujiki perfectly. Hatsuma denies it, and instead, you're left to fight another person who captured that dumb Seal Girl. After defeating that boss, Ageha conveniently walks up to you again, and then she tells you that Hiroko is rebuilding his ancient demon statue in a factory. So you make haste and make it through the factory. Stage 6 is the factory stage, and it does its job fair enough. However, it's also a stage where you kind of have to avoid combat. Combat can be kind of monotonous in there, especially because when you lock onto people, you stay there on the wall. You can't move on the wall when you're locked on. In fact, they actually have scattered yin around that you can collect. You can still get tape bonuses, but whatever. When you're down there, you find that the Seal Garden has been used by Hiroko. Just defeat the robot. Boss fight on this stage can be a little bit of a troublesome bunch. You can kill it in one hit, but sometimes you only get half, and I don't know what the trick is, but I think you have to have it so that their head bobs down, and when it bobs down, you hit them in the back of the head. I don't know. Whatever. You defeat the robot, and then plot twist. Turns out you were supposed to! And guess what happened? All the yin flew right out of the robot and went right into Hiroko, restoring his youth. Oh no. You go after to strike him. Bam! The mysterious ninja shows up again. After some pretty cool fighting.
Maritsune.
He's not dead!
Kill your own brother.
Hiroko says, come find me at the Sakura Gardens. You go to the Sakura Gardens and make haste. Stage 7 is a Sakura Garden. Man, this is kind of pretty. The colors seem like they're a little dried out, but I think that has to go with the night theme to it. And it's very, very pretty. I do enjoy it a lot, especially a lot of the trees. It's a Sakura tree. Of course it's gonna look nice. What is that?
Ageha, why are you trying to stop me?
Oh,
It was
that's
all to
why
resurrect
she
me
ain't
to
my
me.
waifu. Oh,
I am the one who broke
Ooh.
your seal.
yeah. Oh man.
Tradition.
Oh.
be damned. I cannot
That ass
forgive
betrayed
Hiroko
you.
for
Oh.
taking Moritsune.
So you kill her. Afterward, you don't really actually kill her though. She runs away.
Ageha!
Hiroko, is the ritual complete? Is Moritsune alive?
Yep.
Yes, my
That
dear.
ritual's complete, isn't it? Look at what you did. You turned him into a dragon. Why did you do that, you stupid fucking bitch? So then you gotta fight Moritsune again. Great. Just man, freaking tastic. But then you get him. Then
Maritsune.
Hosama, my spirit resides in Akujiki. It has always been with you. Take revenge for the Oboro, Hosama.
that was kind of sweet. Moritsune then gives Hatsuma all the courage he needs to go straight to the Golden Palace to fight Hiroko. Oh, but look at this smartass. It was all part of his freaking plan. But then stage 8, platforming bliss. There's so much cool platforming in part A. You get to jump on walls and then jump on the floor, and you're running on all these fragmented floating pieces in the sky of Golden Palace. Oh, I love it so much. It's an extremely fun stage, and it's just great platforming. And there's some cool fights in there too. Wow. Great stage 8. But then 8B comes along. And 8B, platforming kind of... Well, platforming goes around, comes around. You start with little platforming, and instead you're kind of forced into situations where you have to fight, and you have to get stones down. But as you progress through, you get to more platform-esque areas. So you get to, like, this area here, then you get to sensei houses, and they're all flipped around and shit, and then you just get to fragmented platforms, and you're just climbing up, and it gets fun. And then the boss that I've complained about, the boss. You get through the Golden Palace and you finally get to face Hiroko. And you are just...
Everyone's souls on purpose.
He really puts you in one hell of a catch-22. But then, Hatsuma delivers.
Is that all you have left to say? If you want this life I threw away when I killed my brother, you can have it. However, I shall destroy you along with this accursed blade.
And here's my perfect transition. This final boss. This is what I was crying about. This. Oh my God.
Forth the fires of hell.
This is a blemish. A blemish, an imperfection on an otherwise perfect product. Oh God, why? Hiroko. Hiroko, the final boss. The worst final boss out of all these great bosses. Not just one of the worst final bosses, just bosses in the game. One of the worst. Oh my God. I'm lost and flabbergasted of how bad this is, and I'm so happy I took notes about this. Let me tell you why this boss sucks. Number 1. Hiroko has moments where he's invincible. This prevents you from making a counterattack that you could do to every boss in the game. Number 2, the enemies that you have to fight to build up your Tate can commit honorable Sudoku and shoot you. So you can also lose them, or they could shoot you and screw up your Tate. Thirdly, that fucking intro. This boss fight has 2 phases, but the first phase is completely stupid. You don't need it. You don't need it. All it does is you walk up to him and hit him. That's it. You don't need to do it. It doesn't need to exist, but it's there. It's there, and it makes the boss fights extremely long. But even better, the hitboxes for the talismans are horrible. You don't know where their back is or their front is, so when you dash into them, it can either take 1 hit or 3 hits to take care of them. It's completely inconsistent. But then, the best part? Sometimes you can miss with your Tate and only do like half the damage to the boss, but you can hit him again. You can't do it with this guy. No, if you hit him, boom, he's gone and he's somewhere else, and you lose your freaking Tate. This is horrible. Compared to every other boss in the game, which is equal, fair, balanced, you can easily get your Tate up, you can easily hit them. This is not fair. In fact, beating this guy is practically pure luck. And I'm amazed that I even could do it. I did it though. I somehow beat him. I don't know how I did it. I think I just got lucky. And I beat him. Hatsuma puts Hiroko in the blade. And he goes down with the Golden Palace as the Seal Guardian watches it all happen in front of her. And that's it. Rest in peace, Hatsuma. Once you beat the game, you unlock hard mode, and once you beat that, you unlock super hard mode. And I don't even know why I'd like to beat this game more than once, but hey, you know, why not? You also get stage select with this, and you can unlock even more Oboro tokens by playing on the harder difficulties. And yes, this is the only way you can unlock extra characters. What are some of the characters you can unlock? Oh, look at that! It's freaking Moritsune! Yes, you can actually play as Moritsune through the entire campaign. He does double the damage and is quite faster than Hatsuma. In contrast, his Akujiki hunger meter actually goes down quicker. So, it's a fair balance. He's probably a lot of... I feel like I let you guys down here, but I couldn't unlock the third character, Joe Musashi. Joe Musashi was the original protagonist in the first 3 Shinobi games. And I couldn't even get him! Hard mode's really hard. It's kind of hard to get more Oboro tokens, and when I was told that the only way I could get Joe was if I beat the game on hard, and that final boss, oh, I just had to say no thank you, and I just kind of stopped there. Now the lesser things to talk about here would be the music. This is great. The soundtrack's great. This is great. Listen to this. Now you can also listen to this too. Oh, classic right here. You know, I may have a bias for this because Sonic Adventure is my favorite soundtrack, and one of the persons who made some of the music in here worked on that, so we got some good tunes in here, and man, the music is fantastic. Along with the audio. The audio is surprisingly pretty high quality, especially for an early PlayStation 2 game, which always uses really compressed audio because they're like, what? DVDs can hold 8 gigs? No, 1 gig, man, that's fine enough. The voice acting, though, is something to be desired. The main characters themselves, kind of bad. Hatsuma isn't really that good, and he shows very little emotion.
I must save Master Kabuto.
Ageha is just there, and the Seal Guardian is so bad. It actually sounds like a guy's voicing her.
If Yatsurao is rebuilt, Hiroko will control the world. You must stop him.
But the secondary characters have some pretty exciting roles. I guess it was because maybe they're like, hey, play the craziest guy you can. And they did just that. Graphics, early PS2 game. They reuse assets here and there. They're not really something to be desired, but graphics don't really matter that much here. They just do the job, really. So, now that we pretty much covered everything here, let's talk about what I'd like to change. Whew. You know what I'd want to change? That fucking final boss. That stupid freaking final boss! Alright, you know what I would get rid of? I'd get rid of that intro stage, I'd make the talismans easier to hit, and I'd also make it so that he can still have the invincibility attack. Okay, sure. But instead, make it so that no matter what, as long as you got an 8-kill tank, you will kill him instantly. That would be a satisfying conclusion. An absolutely perfect finale. Right there. That's what I would change. Well, okay, and I would also add checkpoints to some of the stages, because really, they do deserve it. You have infinite lives, sure, but come on. Include a checkpoint system. It doesn't hurt. In fact, they did in the sequel, which I may look at. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But that's pretty much it. Shinobi 2002. It's one of my favorite video games. I went into this game with some mild expectations. In fact, I heard from people that, hey, this is a really hard game. In fact, it's like, it's too frustrating to be fun. But I found it to be the exact opposite. I think it's the perfect difficulty. And I had such a fun time playing through the stages, the platforming, the combat, perfectly molded together into one unique system. It's fantastic. An absolutely perfectly flowing game. Oh, it's so great. Now, I don't like the final boss. I really don't. And like I said, it could ruin it for some, but it didn't ruin it for me. The gameplay is where it matters the most in this game. And you know what? For every video game, that's where it should be. But this game just nails it right out of the park. It really did. I would highly recommend this game to anybody. It's on the PS2. You can get it on the PS3 store. Or if you really want to, you can emulate it. And man, just man, don't miss out on this game. This is a freaking great game. Give it a shot. If you ever get a chance, give it a shot. I pulled up to the shrine about 7 or 8 and I yelled to the cabbie, yo Holmes, my clan's dead. I looked at my kingdom and I wasn't a fan, cause I'm the leader of the fucking dead Oboro clan.